Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the extraordinary Neighbourhood Plan Full Council meeting for Tuesday the 5th of December. And the first item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
I've had apologies from Councillor N. Oakes, Councillor S. Oakes and Councillor D. Fuller.
Thank you. Do we accept apologies for absence? That's accepted. Item 135, declarations of interests. To receive and consider any declarations of interest from members and officers under Section 50 of the Local Government Act 2000 and our Standing Order 35. This requirement applies only in respect of matters which are to be considered by the Council at this meeting. And this is 13501, to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests. No. To declare 13502, to declare any other interests. Councillor Chappell.
I have been a member of the Glackthorne Neighbourhood Planning Group, which probably had its last meeting on Thursday of last week, but nevertheless.
Still need to declare it. For safety's sake, I will, although I don't need to, I will also declare that I am a resident of Glackthorne Parish, but I am neither on their parish council nor am I a member of their neighbourhood plan working group. Any other interests? No. 13503, to consider any requests for dispensation. No. 13504, to report any gifts or hospitality accepted over the value of £50. No. And 13505, to report any inappropriate gifts or hospitality offered. No. Okay, that's the declarations dealt with. 136, public participation from interested parties or members of the public. Have we had anybody in front?
I haven't had anybody ask.
Would either of you like to speak? This is your chance.
Really, we want to just try and understand more about the neighbourhood plan. That's okay. So we're just happy to listen for now, if that's all right.
Okay, yes. It's just a very brief update at this meeting tonight, but
we've missed so many opportunities to attend meetings. We know there's some more coming,
yes.
And you'll also have your stand in the marketplace and in future markets. We're really just trying to get initiated into the neighbourhood plan.
I shall be there Saturday. In the freezing cold.
But the Saturday after, no, sorry, the Thursday.
The Thursday one. Yeah, I shall be there for that. Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
If we may ask a question at the end when you've concluded, if there are any questions, could we have an opportunity to do that? Or
yes, I might, as long as it doesn't interfere with the with anything that's being discussed in the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. 137, consideration of requests from interested parties. Nothing to consider. 138, neighbourhood plan. 13801, to receive an update on the neighbourhood plan. We had another meeting. We've just had two meetings in rapid succession, 2 weeks apart, of the working group, who meet on Thursdays at 5 o'clock. They are progressing with some of the detail with our neighbourhood plan consultant, and I emailed him today, and he seems to be quite happy with his progress and happy that information is coming to him in a steady stream. You've heard nothing back, Clark, to say he's waiting on anything, or?
I've arranged a meeting that he's going to be attending to discuss housing.
Yes.
And that's Thursday, the
14th, I think.
Yeah, 14th,
yes.
5 p.m.
Yes.
I'm trying to put together the list of consultations and public meetings and things that have happened since this all started, which is quite an extensive list.
Yes, it is.
And I'm trying to think what else. I think that's all for now.
Okay. Yes, we've had quite a number of meetings. We had a public meeting in the Queen Victoria Hall, and I'd like to thank those councillors, and that's most of the people in, I think it's all the people in this room, who attended that and assisted with the neighbourhood plan on that evening, helping the public. We also ran a display for the library, for those interested in the situation with that, and the Friends of Oundle Library assisted with that. And we also gave information about the other likely cuts to services which we may have to pick up. We've also now had 3 surgeries, and all 3 had people attend. One was very well attended, very heavily attended. The other 2 were much steadier. But quite a lot of people are interested in coming along to find out what's happening with their neighbourhood plan. I'm doing the Saturday market this coming Saturday, and the following Thursday I'm doing the Thursday market. We are arranging at the moment meetings at the request of our consultant with, I think, 3 developers. We're trying to arrange meetings before Christmas and the rest immediately after. But the 3 before Christmas are where we want to get clear the details, clear up any uncertainties in the details before the version of the draft plan, which will then go to Regulation 14, public participation in January. Do I have any questions?
Just one, Mayor. It's after the meeting that we had, the public meeting, it was brought to my attention by some of the public that went there that, in fact, they were worried as to how we as a council hold the developers to court, I suppose, for one or anything else, for when they say they're going to put in affordable housing. They say they are, and at the end, it never ever happens on any of the new builds around Oundle, including the one they built off of Herne Road on Redcoat Road. All the affordable housing they put onto that estate that they promised has now gone to private buyers as buy-to-lets. None of it is at a price that is affordable, and I want to make sure that we have enough clout with the developers to make sure that when they say they're going to build affordable housing, we make them and hold them to that commitment, because I think it's very, very important for the town that the whole town doesn't turn into some massive
Absolutely.
rental.
Fully agree. To some extent that is being tackled through the meetings that are just coming up, where we're going to fine up on some of the details of what types of housing, how many of each, and exactly where they're going to put them, how much space between them and things like that is the kind of detail we're now going into with a small working group. Councillor Chappell was next.
I mean, the difficulty, of course, is this, that arguably we have absolutely no clout but a moral clout in this issue.
Point taken.
All of those developers signed up some time ago to particular packages, and they'll all no doubt meet us again and hopefully confirm what they previously said. But of course the reality is that when any planning application goes in, it's not this council that gets to determine it and says, hang on a minute, this isn't in line with what we were expecting or approving. It's going to be ENC. Now they are going to have in front of them, hopefully, an adopted neighbourhood plan. That will be a local plan which they can have regard to. But actually it's going to be difficult to predict in advance the extent to which the very detailed provisions in our neighbourhood plan regarding levels of affordable housing, types of dwelling, and all the sort of benefits that come with it, and the actual numbers per site allocated, whether or not they could be held to that effectively by the district council. I very much hope they can be, because it will undermine to a degree the process we're going through.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, if we don't at least try, it's got no chance of success. So the fact that we've got a document as comprehensive as the one we've got, and the fact we've seemed to have got the developers on board to this stage, is very encouraging, but there can't be any guarantees, and that's the problem.
No, there's no guarantee. We have got letters from them. I've been through those letters to ensure that they have agreed to the quota of houses that they've been given, and in some of those quotas it does state a mixture of, say, 1 and 2 bedroom, some affordable, but we've got to fine up on the numbers. We've got to fine tune that with the next stage and get that all agreed between us and the developers, and we need to do that very soon. But as Councillor Chappell rightly says, if they renege on that, we're kind of stuck. And if ENC at their planning meetings allow either more houses than we've allocated and agreed, and they've agreed, or different houses, bigger houses than they originally agreed with us, then we are very limited in what we can do. But we will, obviously, through these meetings, we will protest and we will do whatever we can to try and keep things on track. Councillor Peel.
Yeah, I have the same comments on Wednesdays as everybody else did. I think reference affordable housing. One or two people asked me where the social housing was as well, because there doesn't appear to be any sort of social housing at all in the plans. Affordable housing is not the same as social housing. And there's nothing mentioned about that either, which is a bit disappointing, because if you remember, right back when we first started, well, not first started because obviously it's been going on for some years, one of the points we made was that we needed some sort of social housing put into these plans, which doesn't appear to be there at all anymore. It seems to have been sort of forgotten and put on the back page.
That is something we can bring up with these developers and talk to them about and see if that can be back in the plan.
I just think obviously if we can do that, I know, like Councillor Chappell said, chances are that they'll renege on 70% of it, but we might just get the odd, you know, 1 or 2 there that would work. It would be nice if we could get some sort of agreement between, I don't know, Swire Homes or Rockingham Housing Association to build a couple of social houses within those estates.
I think you have to bear in mind the whole provisions around affordable housing, which in fact does include, in effect, social housing, is at a higher level than just our neighbourhood plan. And it is in the joint core strategy, it will be in all the overarching documentation. We know what the numbers are supposed to be, which is, broadly speaking, 40% for any development over 10 houses in an urban area, which would include here. The problem is that we know in practice what happens is that the developer goes along to ENC and says, you can't actually economically develop this if we have to have 40%. And so it tends to get cut back and it gets closer to around 20-25% as a general rule. All, again, that our plan can do is carry, as it does, numbers for that form of housing, which would of course encompass housing for rent, both in terms of the private market, but also in terms of social housing, i.e. in practical terms, housing through housing associations and the like. But one knows full well that it's going to be a real battle ultimately between ENC and developers as to how close they can get those numbers up.
Yes, and as Councillor Chappell said at the very beginning, ours is one of the most detailed plans out there. A lot of people have just given a number and that's it.
Absolutely. I'm behind the plan 100%, as you know, because we've all gone through it and we've all digested it.
Absolutely.
You know, I think
Councillor Humphreys.
Just one other point. The thing that we have got control over, the housing situation to one side, is the infrastructure that goes into the developments. Now, in the conversations I had at the public meeting, people were concerned about the Glatford Road, Cotterstock Road, estate there, and the fact that I pointed out to them that on the developer's plans, where the entrance to that estate comes out, from that entrance back to along Cotterstock Road to the primary school, there are no pavements, for example. Now the developer, who's going to pay for the pavements that would have to be put in there? That's something we do have control over. And those details on those plans are smudged away by the pretty pictures. But in fact, when it comes down to it, laying in the pavement, moving pedestrian crossings, making sure the traffic slows down when it comes down into the primary school, all of those sorts of things are things we have control over, and I think that's the sort of detail we could concentrate on as well.
I think that one's going to be a meeting with Highways on that site and a lot of others to find out on, for example, the existing Cotterstock Road pavements, how they will be extended outside of the site to link with the site. I think things like that is something we need to take up with Highways as an issue as part of the neighbourhood plan. But yes, it is important, and we have got to look into the infrastructure. We certainly have got to look at things. We've also got to look at, they've all offered us benefits in different kinds on different sites. We've got to look at those benefits and find out exactly what we're getting. If they say we're getting a certain acreage of extra cemetery land or an events site or allotments or whatever, we've got to make sure we're getting that area. We've also got to make sure that the area we're getting is suitable for that use. There's been a question about whether allotment allocation is going to be suitable for allotments in the area that maybe, we've got to go into the details, but it may be that the developer would like to put the allotments where the land is not suitable for allotments, and we'll have to look into that one very carefully and make sure that we get a package and find out exactly what package we are getting for the deal. So we've got all those things to go into in great detail. Some of it before Christmas with 3 developers, where it's quite critical, and then with the other 4 developers in the new year. We've got to go through these sites in detail. I mean, one of them is giving us a cricket pitch. We need to know just to what state of finish that cricket pitch is coming to us. Is it just a field? Is it the full thing with floodlights and full training facilities, a pavilion and everything, or is it somewhere in between? My guess is somewhere in between, but it's exactly where in between. So these are the kind of things that we've got to fine-tune over the coming weeks. And yes, we note concerns of councillors and the public on this. I've arranged to add a couple more events to the programme. I'm going to do an extra neighbourhood plan session for some of the elderly of the town in Stronglands, Maltings and Abbott House, who won't be able to turn out on a Thursday night in the dark to attend the Queen Victoria Hall presentation, and to give them one either in here or at the primary school. And also I'm arranging to go to the primary school for the very reason you say that there's that development very nearby. They have concerns about those streets filling up with cars, with mums coming to collect children, and the congestion that will be caused around there, and you know, also other things like proximity of zebra crossings and things in the event of there being more traffic and more people. So all those issues need to be taken up, and the primary school would like their own session, and I'm planning to do similar sessions in January or February with Prince William, with Oundle School, and with anybody else really, any other groups of people who want to go through the neighbourhood plan as an interested group, and talk them through their concerns. Any more questions on the neighbourhood plan? No? Did you want to come back to us? I'll let you...
Well, I think, is it the right time, Mr Mayor, to do that, or should we come and see you in the marketplace? Because I don't want to hold up your valuable pack. We wouldn't mind getting hold of an information pack. We've missed the information pack somehow as well. I don't know whether we come back to see you at another time for that, or can we still get them?
Yes, you can come, if you come in tomorrow. Or
Yeah, okay.
You can come in and get them. Yeah, that's fine. Just come into the office.
Yeah, we'll come in and get one. Yeah, okay, thank you. But I think probably we need the more appropriate time becomes to you at one of your meetings. Unfortunately, we don't seem to be coinciding with being able to get to the meeting. That's
right.
a problem, I guess.
I'm sure there'll be some more arranged. So we'll try and arrange one that does fit with everybody.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
No,
On the neighbourhood plan,
Yes.
certainly in our packs, there's some elements of correspondence which are there, obviously, for our information. The question is, are we going to discuss anything in relation to them at this point or not?
I think that was really before a certain other item came onto the agenda, which is the next item in closed session. But if you want to discuss those items, Councillor Chappell, then we'll discuss them. But we need to be fairly quick because
Yeah,
I think
well,
we've got a long item coming up.
I guess the question that arises is, should we respond particularly to Mr. Grange's letter? And I should say Mr. Grange was my next door neighbour when I lived in that street. And we've also been provided with copies of some material that David Webb also produced in some
Yes.
Potterstock Road, the one that's opposite the entrance.
Yes.
Being conscious of the time, I suspect that we probably can't debate it now. But I do think that perhaps we ought to put these items onto an agenda where we will have an opportunity to discuss them, if not for any other reason other than to go to these people and say, look, we've received your correspondence and it's going to be considered at this meeting because we didn't have sufficient time tonight.
Did you say Peter Grange was?
Yeah, well, Peter Grange is
I know
one.
Peter Grange. Yes, I can have a word with Peter Grange.
And David Webb is...
David Webb. I've spoken to David Webb a number of times. He's looked at the plan with me a number of times because he is the secretary of the Trade Association. And they've had I didn't mention that, but they've had a presentation as well,
right,
which is where he noticed what was happening at Cotterstock Road next door to his house. And he has a covenant over part of the area that they want to build on. So he has
That's a very interesting point.
Yeah.
Or the back of those houses.
Yes.
So
Quite a number of them have got covenants, yes. Now, they cannot be taken into consideration under planning law, but they can be actionable in, as it were, civil law. In that if they have a covenant, they can bring a case through the courts and they can enforce their covenants, or they can, well, here's the expert.
Councillor Sparks is exactly right as far as it goes. If we were looking at a planning application, the existence of a covenant that might in theory prevent the development is not a planning consideration.
No.
The interesting thing is that, of course, in terms of preparing a neighbourhood plan, it's not a planning application.
No.
It is devising a planning framework. Now, it seems to me that consideration of whether or not elements exist that might make a site potentially undeliverable is arguably a relevant matter. Now, I know it was considered, it wasn't considered when it was last looked at a bar to the inclusion of the site. But it may be something that we will want to factor in when we've seen what Regulation 14 consultation brings.
Yes.
Because if there is a lot of opposition and we are aware of something like that, for example,
Yes.
we may want to take it into account.
That's exactly what our planning law solicitor said. That's the time to look at that one, see what the strength of feeling is up there. There are quite a few of them with covenants. And I do know from David, one of them up there is also a solicitor. One of David Webb's neighbours is a solicitor. And I think he is thinking in terms of using those covenants to push the development further down the hill out of sight and well away from their back doors. So they may stick with that, or they may want to rely upon the neighbourhood plan for us to say, if the public don't want it, we won't have it. We've got more than enough houses in. We're only supposed to provide 250 minimum. We've got 312 in. That will leave 282 without that site. We're still above the minimum. So it might be at that stage we go back to the developer at that site and say, on public demand, the public prefers not to have this site.
Knowing David, that's probably what we're going to have to do.
Right, we really ought to move on to this other item. If anybody has anything else on neighbourhood plan? No? Right. Please note that in view of the special and or confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it is advisable in the public interest that the public be temporarily excluded and they are instructed to withdraw our Standing Order 3C. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Chappell, a seconder, please. Councillor Hutton, those in favour? Those against? Any abstentions? You're abstaining?
Yeah, I won't vote against tonight.
Okay.
I don't like it.